Marcos. This is from A to Z. I go by Michael Mike Check. Yeah, and this is from A to Z. This Kilo G. Say them great. This is from A to Z podcast. My name is Christian Burgos. This is from A to Z. Adrian Casares from A to Z. My name is Tom Stone. This is from A to Z. This is Organics. This is from A to Z. Rico Alvarado. This is from A to Z. I am Rajapi. We're at A to Z Studios. Shout out to A to Z for having me. My name is DJ Rick Monster. Sales, aka Mandalore. This is from A to Z. Kelvin Candy. My name is Vic. This is A to Z. My name is Richard. Tattoo Gun Santiago. I'm Professor Panda. This is from A to Z. What's up, man? My name is Kid Griffey. This is from A to Z. What's up? This is KB Fan from LGC. This is from A to Z. You're watching A to Z. Santo Domingo, New York, for the East Side. I'm Dre from LGC. From A to Z. Oh, my boy. This is from A to Z. Yeah, let's go.
Wow. Hey, it's Coppa here. You know, Dana Coppa from the Swap House, hanging out with the homie Angel from A to Z, about to get this blog thing in.
Sweet. And that's how we started, bro.
you know.
Yeah, man, bro. First off, thank you for letting me do this podcast at your store, bro.
I mean, not a problem, man. You're always welcome. You're definitely one of the people who supported, helped out from day one. Even before I was doing this store, you had me come down. Or even before we started thinking about doing a store, you had me down for podcasts before. So, of course, I definitely want to tap in.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, you really helped me, man, because, dude, you're somebody with a name out here, so, man, that really meant a lot.
I appreciate it. I mean, whatever I can do to help, you know me, I try to be humble as possible.
Yeah, man, yeah, and I appreciate it. So, I definitely did want to bring up a few things, bro, like...
For sure.
Like, since the last time we podcast, bro, was this even in your mind?
I mean, it kind of, well, you know, the idea of doing a store has been there for probably maybe like 8 months now, you know, so there was talks, and even during that time there was kind of talks, but not necessarily of like where the store was going to be or like how, or, you know.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of shit to it,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff there was definitely a lot of shit to it, and everything kind of had to get solidified and worked out with the proper parties. But yeah, I mean, at the time, the idea of a store was there, but not like where the store was going to be, or like even is it going to be in Rockford? Because if you would have asked me during that time, like, hey, or if you would even have said, Dana, I know you're going to have a store here, I'd have been in Rockford. I would just, no way. Don't see it happening, you know. But nevertheless, here I am, you know. So yeah, it's kind of it was in the space during the time.
But what did make you wanna like be okay? Let's do it in Rockford.
A few things kind of came into play. One, Ernie's pub next door. Andrew, the owner, he was a big part of me coming down here. He kind of reached out to me and said, "Hey, I see what you're doing, and I have a location. You know, I understand it's kind of far away from where you are, but you know." Maybe you want to, maybe not, or whatever. So the idea kind of just started as maybe me doing a pop-up, and I said, hey, let me check out the spot. So Andrew, I came down, and Andrew showed me the spot last year, March, is when I seen it. It was like on my birthday, or maybe it was February during Mike Check's birthday. And so Andrew was a huge part of it, saying I had the space, and then Michael Mike Check was a big part of it. Big up to Michael Mike Check. But he was a big part of it as well, kind of like, yeah, I'll let you do it, you know, I'll help, you know, things just kind of fell in line, you know, from that point. So, you know, like, yeah, Andrew, big up to Andrew, big ups to Ernie's Midtown Pub. They were a big part of this. So that was just kind of how it kind of happened, you know, just like organically.
And getting everything together, because, I mean, obviously you can look at a spot, buy it, or rent it, however you want to put it, but there's still a bunch of paperwork and a bunch of permits, or am I wrong with that?
Well, I mean, yeah, we had to get some paperwork together. I had to start up an LLC in Illinois.
Wait, before you continue, did you know all of this ahead, or were you all like...
No, I knew some things kind of like going into it. There was a few things that were kind of, that I was privy to as far as having knowledge of. So I knew I had to have like a certain permit, because Andrew, once again, he was just kind of giving me the rundown. He kind of helped me out what I needed to get in order, who I needed to talk to, kind of like just gave me a rough outline of the steps. So I had to start up an LLC here in Illinois in order to be a business that I can pretty much get a tax ID number, And then I had to get a permit through the city, or actually not the city, the county, Winnebago County, in order to function here. And then, so I had like a inspector come through. I had to do a few things, but I mean, it wasn't that crazy, but it could definitely be a little daunting if you don't know, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I bet,
it was,
dude.
I mean, for a few weeks we were like, I don't know how to do this. We had to make some calls and kind of figure it out, you know, because there's like really no manual to like how to start a business, how to run a business,
Yeah.
you know, or even, I mean, we're in the process of running it. We don't really necessarily know, but it's ongoing, you know.
Yeah, because, dude, like, I feel like every business is different. Everybody tries to handle it their own special way.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, depending on what you're trying to do, but mainly most businesses, depending on what they are going to, you know, the city's going to want them to operate a certain way. But yeah, as far as like cosmetically, the inside, eternal, you know, everybody kind of does business a little different, or what their expectations of what the business is or how they're going to do it. Yeah, for sure.
Were there any bumps in the road?
I mean, yeah, there was quite a few bumps. I mean, we've ran through quite a few bumps this whole process, and so that's took time away from doing other things. You know, as far as like just trying to go out and be so visual. We haven't really promoted too tough. You know, I mean, we've got some local pub and a few people promoting us, and you know, we get a nice walk-in traffic from next door.
Oh, sweet.
So that helps out, and then Instagram is doing pretty well for us, so people come in from Instagram. You know, our main focus is really just trying to get people through the door right now before we kind of like go crazy on like getting a website up, doing online sales and all of that. My main focus is really just trying to get word of mouth and kind of establishing ourselves as a business here in Rockford amongst, you know, the locals.
Yeah, that was another thing too. Like, were you gonna start your own website, or were you gonna use other platforms like Etsy?
I mean, and that's one of the things right now we're just in the process of trying to figure out. So I don't really know what we're gonna do as far as like we might use like Shopify maybe as that platform, and have our own website, kind of work through that, because it seems like there's certain platforms that kind of like cross work. So like I know Instagram and Facebook, they work with certain platforms that allow you to sell through Instagram and stuff, so it makes sense to work with one of those platforms. And I think there's like 5 of them. I know Shopify is one of them, and that's the one that we've kind of talked about behind the closed doors of like where we're trying to go or how we're going to roll out our online presence as far as website goes and online sales.
Okay, yeah. And dude, how is that, keeping track of everything?
I mean, it can be overwhelming, you know. I mean, it's definitely its own mission. I mean, anxiety definitely exists within being your own business owner. You know, I mean, there's just a lot that kind of you know, it's romantic in the beginning when you fantasize about it, what you think about what it's going to be like or what you want. You romanticize about all these ideas, you know, but then when it comes down to executing, you know, you start realizing that there are boundaries like time and where I can be, how I can be, where I can move, what I can put in, you know, like how to reach out to people. I mean, there is a lot of bumps in the road still. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're still trying to learn, that I'm still trying to learn and figure out as well as I go, you know. I mean,
I feel like, man,
bugs are all over the place all of a sudden.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say, dude, there's like, man, you think things could be going well, but you're still learning.
Well, I mean, and I think that's with everything. I guess the biggest thing about it is that I'm not in a race. Like, there's no finish line. I'm not trying to hurry up and reach, you know, I have like goals, I have milestones and things that we're trying to reach. So as long as we're on path to reaching those and making steps to reach those goals, then we're in a good place, you know, because I know we're not going to be able to do everything that we want, and particularly for news businesses, you know, I mean, it takes about a good 3 years for you to really get off your ground, you know, I mean, before you start seeing a profit and a turnaround, because you got to invest a lot into what you're doing. you know, a lot of these clothes and items we've bought and had for a while. So we've been investing in what we were trying to do for a while, but still, you know, there's still more to invest in, still more to do, and for us to like see actual get into the green, you know. But
Okay, yeah.
so there's a lot of work. So it's definitely ongoing, you know, it's an ongoing thing. A lot of bumps, a lot of bumps.
May I ask, what was one of your goals for the shop?
Well, one of the goals for the shop is just, I mean, which were just, I try to keep them low priority, small goals, you know, so they're easier to reach, you know. One of the goals is like trying to maintain a certain amount a day, as far as like having a certain amount of people coming through the door, a certain amount being sold, making sure that we have certain items and bringing in certain items. Just making sure that we are promoting on certain platforms as much as we can. You know, right now our goals are kind of like minimal goals, you know. I would like to just call them like, really there's no super huge goals that we have, but everything is like, all right, how quick can we get the shelves up? How quick can we get stuff in? How quick, you know, can we get people in here? What can we use for word of mouth, you know? And like now we're slowly coming to the point where we're kind of established and the water's kind of like not so much rocky or shaky, and so you know, now we're kind of getting to a place where we can kind of figure out how we want to maneuver, how we want to do, what's going to be lucrative, what isn't, you know. So we're kind of in a good place. I mean, you know, it's just a weird spot. I mean, considering we've only been open for about a month. Or I'm sorry, a few months.
Yeah.
Well, we opened up in August. That's how quick time goes. Because where are we? It's November now, so we opened up in August. So you know, August, October, November, or August, September. August, September, November. Here we are.
No, October, November.
Am I missing something? Jeez. All of a sudden, I'm just throwing October all the way.
No, bro, I imagine, bro, especially with all the stuff you do here and then the stuff you do personal, right? And then your creativity, bro, and life, man. I imagine time is like...
Hey, I mean, it does move pretty quick, you know, it does. And that's a scary thing too, you know.
Do you feel like there's enough time sometimes?
I feel like there's never enough time, and then just like, you know, with me too, having ADHD so bad is like, I'm just all over the place, you know. So like I'll work on something, and in the middle of that I'll get up and start working on something else, and then, you know, I'll forget that I'm working on that, and then I might come back and like, damn, I left all this stuff here, I didn't even finish that, you know, because I'm just like scatterbrained of all these things that I have to do, and a lot of times there's only just me, you know.
And may I ask, where do you prefer to spend most of your time? Is it the shop or is it your own stuff?
I mean, I love the shop. I love being here. Rockford has been great for me, and I love spending time here. I love making connections, and I mean, right now the shop is a big part of my life. You know, it's like my baby.
I would imagine, bro.
I would like to spend more time here. I like to tap into more things, and you know, because I feel like I'm a little behind, you know, particularly when it comes to Rockford, because I feel like I'm kind of an outsider a little bit, you know, because I don't necessarily live here. I mean, I know Rockford, I know how to get around, I know people, but I don't necessarily know like the movers, shakers, what's popping, where to go, who to talk to. You know, there's a lot of things that I need to learn as well, just coming down here. So, you know, I feel like there's a lot of catch up for me to do. There's a lot of things that I need to learn. And then how do I execute those things on top of that? So there is like, you know, I mean, the shop is like my main thing. Other stuff like art and a lot of the things that I do extra, I can kind of do out of the shop here, you know, like working on music, I can work here in my downtime. Art, I can work on downtime, you know. The only thing I can't do is raise my kids out of this shop, you know. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's just, there's never enough of like what I can do, you know. I just feel like there's always more I can do, and then that brings a little anxiety in itself, because then it's just like, you know, oh, I need to do this and do that, and I can't, like, you know, it's like I want to, like, I do art, right, and I can do videos and things like that, but then if I want a video done, I can't shoot myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm here, there's just certain things I can't do by myself, you know. So like the other part of it is like making sure that everybody on the team is on the same page, which is a lot too. And then just getting everyone in a position where we can all kind of like contribute really tough out of here, just so that the store could be more successful. You know, and once again, we're just months into what we're doing, so it's like, you know, it's kind of the beginning still, you know, baby steps. We're still learning how to walk.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, definitely take your time, you know. But and this is something I hope it's not too much to answer, but again, if you
No, let's go.
Do you feel there is enough support here to keep running for a while? Do you see that?
Yeah, I feel like there is a lot of support in Rockford, and I feel like the support more will come as far as like we start reaching out and we start doing more, providing more, making our presence felt more. You know, I mean, the last 3 months have been great. It's been way better than I expected.
Oh, that's good.
So I've been really happy with that, you know. And now it just comes down to like a lot of the hard work, you know. And at the same time too, we're coming into the holiday season, so just time is going to of the essence, you know. So coming into the new year, like once January, February, and everything kind of calms down, and we really get into the midst of winter, then a lot of these ideas we're gonna start executing and get behind to make happen during those downtime, you know. Then that way, when things start moving up and start progressing, we'll be prepared. You know, we'll know how to execute.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, we didn't talk about like you also wanting to do events here, right?
Yeah, I definitely am looking into doing events and pop-ups and bringing in people like artists, whether it's a musician or musicians or.
I see you had DJ
Vic.
Vic,
yeah. I love when Vic comes through, you know. And I want to do things more just like art shows out of here. I want to do pop-ups with other vendors and people who need a platform who necessarily don't have that. I want to do like little gaming events, you know, just to bring back like the renaissance of video games, you know, relive the good old days when you went over to your friend's house and played Tecmo Bowl, you know, or Nintendo because you didn't have one, so you sat over there. I want to bring back some of those like cool things that meant a lot to us, you know, because I feel like a lot of times, you know, reason why we do podcasts, reason why we do art, reason why we do music are these things that are just kind of attached to what kind of inspired us, you know, when we were younger, you know. And so like, yeah, I want to do events here for sure, you know, so definitely looking for artists, musicians.
Yeah, you also had the dude that makes the coffee.
Oh yeah, JP, right?
Yeah,
Jamie.
he's a vendor.
Yeah, he's a vendor. So I mean, yeah, like we had him come down for our grand opening to do a pop up for his roasting and coffee company.
Yeah.
I mean, great. I support it. I love it, and I want to, you know, give him a platform because he necessarily is moving from place to place to do that. And just anything, you know, anybody that's a go-getter or that's willing to put their self out there and like really get behind their dreams are the type of people I want to support and be able to say, hey, if you need a place, you want to network, come in, come through, come talk to me, let's set something up, you know, I'll help you, I'll make the flyer for you, I'll help promote, whatever you need, you know. I mean, I really think that here in Rockford, it's important to tap into other like-minded and self-sustaining businesses like myself.
Yeah. And again, you know, thank you for having me. You know.
Of course.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome. I mean.
Because some people would be like, you know, that's, you know, you're interfering with a business, you know, we don't got no space, but you said, fuck it, you know, come through, so I appreciate that.
I mean, I think it's important because, you know, you catch me in the element, people can kind of see the store within the blog and what you're posting, and at the same time, you know, it gives you a chance to get out from what you're normally doing. I mean, I just, you know, I think that it's important to kind of the essence of everything, the vibe, the aesthetic, to capture all of that. I think that's just important, you know. So being here, I mean, I'm grateful you're here, you know. It means a lot to me too, you know.
Yeah, thank you, man. and I forgot, and you don't have to answer if it, but yeah, how did you think of the video I did for the swap house?
Oh, just the recent one?
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I always get weirded out with me just live footage, or you know, like I was like hoping you would cut some stuff because I just kind of like I will ramble forever. Like I just will go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I mean, I liked it. I just didn't like me.
Dude, no, I totally get it. Anytime I'm like doing a video of me explaining something or talking about something, bro, I'm like, oh, I cringe.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, like, I never liked live, like even performing, or, you know, my girlfriend or people will take footage of me performing and send it to me. I never watch it. I just hate it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's you know, it's like, you know, I just feel, it's just kind of cringy to me a little bit. You know?
No, I don't know if I told you this recently, not too long ago, bro. I started to work with this video editor, so he uploads all my podcasts. So these recent episodes you've been seeing, if you've seen them,
yeah,
I haven't touched them, looked at them. I
That's
just recorded.
good.
Yeah, you know, like he's helped me out. Shout out Shibby at the
Shibby.
Yeah, at the Screw City podcast, man.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, see, you're even leveling up since last time, you know, and you can definitely see like having people help you with your vision and where you're trying to go definitely makes a big difference, you know. You know, like just the time that it takes you to edit, now you're losing time out to do other things because editing is such a tedious process, you know. It's going to take a lot of time to do, and so now you can cut that out and you can just focus on like just getting the content together, pulling content together and then giving it to someone else, like, hey, do something with this, make it look good, you know.
Yeah, man. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations to you, man. That's a big deal, you know.
Thank you, man. Hell yeah, man. I'm just grateful that he was willing to like help me, because at first I was like, bro, I might not be able to pay you sometime.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, I mean, it's cool, you know. Like,
I mean, you know, I think a lot of times about relationships is if you just start the relationship off being honest about what you can or can't do and what your expectations are. I mean, they're gonna, you know, that's great, you know, like going in there saying this is what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do. I mean, it makes those relationships work a lot better. It makes people easier to work with because, you know, as a person can see your growth, they can see your value, and as you're growing, they're growing. So you and them will both know, like, hey, now it's time where I can pay you for this stuff. You know, it's all about creating a relationship. One hand washes the other, for sure. And particularly in places, you know, like what we're trying to do, you know, create a community, and, you know, so we have to look out for each other.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, man. That's something I always try to do is be open. It's hard because there's a lot of people.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the thing about being, you know, a lot of people will want to take advantage and try to get as much as they can from you. But you know what? That's not your fault and that's not your problem, you know, because like a lot of times, well, all the time, my biggest thing is I just try to deal with karma. You're going to get back what you put out. So if someone is taking from me and thinking that they're getting over on me, chances are you're gonna have to meet karma. You know, I'm giving you all this good stuff, and you think you're getting over on me. You know, eventually you're gonna have to run into what you sow. You reap what you sow, for sure.
The one thing that does suck about karma is when you're gonna get it, it can be 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
20 years from
but
now.
it's always gonna be. It's gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you when you least expect it. That's for sure. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, that's also too. You just also have to be honest with yourself, what you're able to do or what you're capable of. Like, you know, a lot of times, you know, I know sometimes that people might want to take advantage of me and going into the situation. Like, hey, you're not taking advantage of me. I'm allowing that to happen. So, like, you know, I'm also wise of the situation. But, you know, that just makes my good karma go up. You know, your bad karma go down. So, like. You just got to be aware, and I think, like I was saying, just being honest about what you can or can't do in the beginning is just so important.
Yeah, true, man. Now, I did want to ask you a few things.
Sure.
Like, because on the first podcast you were talking about how you're doing vintage stuff. Since you started your business, have you learned more, or it's about the same?
No, I mean, the crazy thing is, like, once you get into something, as you can probably know, like making your spray can monsters, like, the first one was probably the hardest one to make. The first 10 were probably super hard to make, and then as you're making them, you're getting better, more ideas.
Oh yeah.
You're setting them up. So yeah, I'm definitely learning. There's always something to learn, you know. I mean, I think that in itself is the essence of life, the key of life. People are like, what is the key of life? Or it's happiness. Well, how do you get happiness? Because it's different for different people, right?
Yeah.
But I think the key of life in general is that learning. You're never going to stop learning. Like, no matter how old you get or to the day you die, you're going to pick up things that are going to help you evolve and, you know, elevate what you're trying to do. So the more that you just dive into something, the more that you do it, you know, it becomes easier and you're just more accustomed to it. So yeah, I think at the time when we were talking to where I'm at now, definitely, you know, learning a lot more and just getting better at my craft, you know. I mean, I tend to, you know, I tend to like hone in and focus on stuff, you know, even though I'm scatterbrained, I tend to do that pretty well, you know. So like once I'm like obsessed with something or fixed on it, I can home in on it pretty good. So like, yeah, I mean, definitely just trying to grow those skills and of like what I'm looking for, how to find it, where to find it, what it's worth, you know, how to get it to that person. So those are all like really important things in this field.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, dude, is all this stuff from all you collecting and been?
Well, yeah, I mean, the stuff is, well, it started that way, yeah, for sure, you know. I mean, what you're looking at is pretty much a collection of like 3 people in here.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was gonna say, dude, this is
like, I mean, a lot of it is mine, yeah. A lot more of it though is the Covert Empire, Berto from the Covert Empire.
Okay.
And then my guy Tyler over at Vintage and Hype, some of his stuff's in here as well. So it's a mixture of me and my girls, the Covert Empire and Vintage and Hype. So, you know, the store is kind of like home to them. We all kind of stock it up, bring in new stuff, try to get people in here. So yeah, I mean, it isn't just me, but yeah, for a long time, my whole collection was just in this store for a very long time, you know.
Okay,
but now it's kind of expanded.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now that it's expanding, bro, are you going to places you haven't, or is it kind of the same old spots?
As far as looking for things,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Illinois a lot, so I'm definitely trying to like find Illinois spots, Rockford areas, things around. Also try to get to know some people, meet some people. So, I mean, I just don't try to limit myself onto my reach, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if you'd be like planning trips to go to like Las Vegas for.
I mean, maybe, you know. I mean, I haven't right now. I think eventually that's definitely on the. I think that's definitely on the board. I think that is definitely something that we're going to do, and that's going to happen in the future. As of right now, I think our main focus is just kind of establishing this place, you know, and just getting stuff in here, getting people through the door is like the big focus, you know.
And may I ask, is it only Illinois stuff in Wisconsin? Cause
I mean, it's everything. I mean, we cater, like, I mean, there's people who've came in here who are Giant fans, Viking fans.
you tell them get out.
I mean, you know, I anybody who loves this stuff, I love them. I have really no team loyalty, you know. I mean, like, you enjoy what you enjoy, and that's beautiful in itself.
What about a team you hate? You're like, nah, bro, I can't sell garbage.
Nah, I don't really have no team hate, you know, because if I, you know, then I'm alienating my customers. And then,
that's true.
You know, so that I don't think that there's nothing or any team that I won't fuck with. You know? I'm open to anything and everything, you know, everything from minor league sports to major league sports to European to Canadian. Like, let's go, hockey, it don't matter, baseball. I mean, soccer, whatever it is, if they made cool garments in the 90s and stuff, and I'm all for it, so I really don't like, I'm open to most anything.
Okay, yeah.
I just try to, like, if it looks cool, it has a play. I mean, it's really also with this stuff is like you become a historian too, because you're like preserving history or part of time. Like a lot of this is like inspired from me when I was in high school, when I got into starter jackets and kicks and hats. Those were my main things: jackets, hats, and shoes. And everything else in between. But I mean, I love all of this stuff. It's the cool thing is when people come in and say, "Oh, I haven't seen that in years. Oh, this brings me back to when I was a kid." Oh, I love all of that stuff. So like, I'm not closed to anything. I'm really open, and I really just like to preserve this time frame that really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, and dude, that's something I also want to talk to you about, bro. Like the historian part. Do you know your, like, I don't know what you want to call it, bro. Like,
well, you get to know history of garments, and that happens because of like tag history. So like once you start learning like a tag, where it was manufactured, what the company was, or how it was made, you start learning a lot. Like just things start coming into place, like time frames. So like when I first started, I'd have trouble looking at tags, and I might have to like Google certain tags, but now I can look at certain things, and I can just look at a tag and tell what it is or where it's from or when it was manufactured. Not all the time, but like you get better at it. So you do become a historian, because then you're like, like then you remember like certain, like Jordan in the 90s and stuff. You start remembering the teams that played around the other players that played around him. It just depends on what you're into, But all of these things are like snapshots of like when I was a kid or what are important to me,
Yeah, and the reason why I want to ask that, bro, because before we start the podcast, your friend Alan, right? Yeah. Dude, you guys were talking about... like, you knew that Coca-Cola wasn't really doing stitching like that. I was like, what the fuck? I thought they stitch anything, like if they see an opportunity.
I mean, Coca-Cola, a lot of people didn't realize, like, Coke back in the late 80s and early 90s actually manufactured clothes. They had, like, a clothing brand and stuff. So they were making clothes and things. And just that particular hat was just telling by the way it was manufactured. It wasn't just something that they just did as a promotional piece. It was definitely something that was sold at a certain place for a certain thing. It was meant, it had its caption in time, like it. However that came into my hands, it went on a big, huge trip, and in itself has its own history.
Yeah, dude.
So it's cool to see like those things happen, like because you'll see stuff, or like I said, people come in, I haven't seen that since a kid, and then they'll have a story about it, or people talk about like Raider coats, or people getting jacked for their starter coats back in the 90s and stuff, or just our kicks, or like I remember the first time I seen a certain shoe, and or someone that had that. Or the first time I played a certain game, or or I bought a figure, or I used to have all these He-Men, or things like that. These, like a lot of this stuff, I like to say is kind of like when you see it, it's kind of like a bakery. My place is kind of like a bakery, I like to say. So they say like memory and smell are connected, and one of the strongest things that are connected to your memory is smell. So when people smell certain things, they can remember, like if you smell your grandma's biscuits or cookies or certain things,
takes you back to
or tamales, you'd be like, oh, I remember what that smelled like. I remember being around Christmas time, and and so I feel like when people come in here and they see certain things, it's kind of a visual representation of that. Like they find themselves like, oh, I remember when I had this in high school, or where I was, or who I was hanging out with. So, the same thing that we also hear is selling like memories. We're preserving things as well, stuff.
Yeah, you definitely got a bunch of memories in here, bro.
All right. 1 minute. I'll come get you.
Yeah, if you got...
whatever, man. I don't worry about it.
Okay. I was going to say, you definitely do got a lot of memories, bro. Like those flags right there, or...
Oh, pennants?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I remember having, I think, like a Bears one.
I mean, as a kid, I would have a bunch of them in my room and just hang them everywhere. They just looked cool, you know. You loved them and stuff. So I think, you know, when you look at it, you're like, hey, you remember a part of your life, a point that you might, you know, don't always remember or always think about. And I think that's significantly important. I said that wrong. Significant. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. I'm Porky Piggin over here.
Yeah. So, can anybody bring, for example, me?
I mean, you can bring stuff in for sure. I know where you're going, and we're definitely open to see what you have, and we're open to buy. You know, just has to make sure that it's right for us and it works with what we're trying to do. You know,
like I'm not gonna bring what's it called, kitchen supplies.
Well, no, I mean, don't bring in a Michael Jordan card and show me what someone sold it for on eBay and think that I'm going to pay the same amount for that. Because I'm not, you know. I mean, if you've watched American Picker or any of those shows, they're going out, they need to buy things at a certain price so that they can make a profit too, you know. So at the end of the day, I'm not an end user person where like you're going to bring that, I'm taking that home or collecting that. Chances are I'm trying to get it to somebody else, and so if it ain't the right price, and the longer that it sits here, the longer I hold on to it, the less valuable it is, you know. And I'm losing money on paying rent to have it here. So if I can't move it quick enough or can't get the right price for it, then it's pretty much not valuable for me, you know. No matter how cool it is, you know.
And do you have a time period, or depending on how cool it is?
I mean, I'm really looking for 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, those are my time periods. Some early 2002 to like 77 is my frame of what I'm looking for.
But may I ask, as we're getting older, as the years keep passing by, or is the years going to move up, or is it just going to stay the same?
I mean, I don't really know, you know, because like I'm just into the stuff that I was into, like what I was into in high school as a kid, you know. So those things are the things that move me, that I think is cool, you know. So from like, is it going to be more modern stuff? We do keep modern things. We do like modern streetwear. You know, streetwear culture is really cool and important, and we like to get our hands on some stuff. But at the same time, you know, you can go anywhere and buy that. So I don't want to hold on to things that you can just go to the mall and buy either. You know, I want to be able to get you something that's a little more one of a kind, a little more cooler. You know, everything in here is pretty much one of a kind. And you can go to a lot of, you know, there's thousands of shops like mine in the U.S. And you can go to those shops, and chances are we're not going to have the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of these things from this time period either got destroyed, worn, put in Goodwill, forgotten, someone's closet, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's not as in abundance as you think. So you're not going to come into places where they're going to have, everybody has the same inventory.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, yeah, no, that's very interesting, bro. But what about, is the Swap House gonna be making anything? Because I seen you guys did a shirt collab or a shirt.
Yeah,
print.
we did a collab with Vic Monster. We definitely helped him put it out there because, you know, he had an idea of wanting to do the shirt. But yeah, we're going to do our own garments and do our own things. I mean, there's a lot on the horizon for us. The store for us, like at the end of the day, is kind of like, we want to use it kind of like a bodega. It's kind of the front for what we really want to do. This is just a part of the bigger picture. It's just a stepping stone onto the next thing. And so, like, establishing this and then getting this known is just going to move it into the next thing that we're going to establish. So yeah, I mean, we have plans of going to full production, making garments, maybe even having our own line down the line. You know, we have a lot of ideas, you know. I mean, we have a basement here, so we're talking about turning the basement into a screen printing studio, getting some embroidery machines down there.
Oh, embroidery?
Yeah, do some embroidering and some cut. getting some sewing machines down there, some screen printing machines, doing like some tie dyeing and reverse dyeing. Just try to do some different things that other people aren't, just kind of reaching out into different fields. I mean, because like the Covert Empire, Bert over at Covert Empire, he's always been into making garments and screen printing, and he and like the Covert Empire in general was like a huge staple from like 2000 to like 2007, 8 here in Rockford. I mean, they did a lot of shows. Berto was putting out a lot of clothes. They were like a street brand, hip hop kind of graffiti like unit, and so I think that my girlfriend owns a clothing company called the Mini Classy that does children's streetwear and stuff like that. Me and her also did like a streetwear brand called the Royal Street back in the day. So we tried to get that off, and so like we definitely have ideas of like making our own garments and doing some of our own stuff. Maybe having our own brand eventually down the line. I don't know if it'll be called the Swap House, but it'll be connected to like At the end of the day, the Swap House is just the location. It isn't necessarily what's inside, but it is the umbrella.
Okay, yeah.
Like the Swap House is what hosts or house, like, the Covert Empire, Vintage and Hype, King Sneaks, and these are like our little things that we're trying to brand out,
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of the idea of like having, like this being the umbrella and then everything underneath it kind of being a part of it, all working together.
Oh, okay, yeah, dope. Yeah, no, I definitely feel you, bro. Like, like my Zstudios, that's my brand. But like, I also push other things like my podcasting, my clothing, which are separate from each other and stuff. Yeah, so I definitely.
Well, you probably should just bring it all together. Just have it all one name. It's just easier. The one thing is like I always thought about like doing all these separate things, but it's really not separate.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, man. I thought if I put everything under one name, some people might not fuck with it because they can associate it with that person.
But now you have to promote 5 different names instead of one, and if you just did one, then it wouldn't really matter.
And a good example for me, I don't know if it's good. Definitely correct me if it's not. But people know me as the A to Z podcast guy, instead of the art guy.
Well, and I mean that's a great start. I mean, I would just take the A to Z, because A to Z could be the name, but then you have A to Z Studio, A to Z Media, A to Z is A to Z. We cover everything. And that could be even your hash. We cover everything, A to Z.
Yeah.
And then that could be your whole, because I think it's, once you start having these different ideas and then you got to start up different business entities for that, then you're really gonna like, the main thing is to streamline everything you're doing, put it under one house, because it's going to be easier to manage.
Okay, yeah.
So if we do like a street brand or a clothing brand, it's not necessarily going to be different than Swap House. It'll be, it'll be together. Swap House is what's going to have what we're doing, but it's all a part.
Yeah.
It's made there. It's a part of. We hold it. We sell it.
Yeah, but even me, man, I'm still learning. That's
no, of course, But there is no wrong or right way. There's just learning. So just learn what's going to work for you. I mean, at the same time, just be open-minded and open to suggestions and, advice. Listen to what people might have for advice, because you don't know where you're going to get ideas from or where you're going to go with it, what someone might suggest, but it is really easier to have everything as one thing, particularly because what you're doing all together is just art. Your podcast is art, your spray cans art, your t-shirts art. It's all really just an art, a representation of Angel. And it'd be easier instead of like, this is A to Z, this is A to Z Studio, this is just Z Studio, or now like there's just a lot of error and a lot of like, well, I didn't know that. A lot of lines to connect, you know. And if you just go, all of this is A to Z, then people are like, oh, all of that's Angel, you know. So then it makes sense. That's just my suggestion.
No, I definitely love it, bro. Yeah, man, shit. I shit you not, man. There's times where people, I feel like, try to soften the blows or knowledge or advice, but it's like, bro, if you think something's way off that you would want to give somebody advice, you know, let me know. Shit, you know.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's all relative. It is. I mean, you know, I might have ideas. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean. It's like putting something on Facebook. You know, just because I have something to say and I can write it on Facebook, do I really have to put it up there? Does it? Because I feel a certain way and I put it on Facebook, does that change it because like 100 people like it or if 2 people like it? No, it doesn't really change it, you know? Like, that's just how it is. Just because you post it or put it out there, you know, it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like a lot of times I catch myself like just deleting, like I'll write something because like, hey, I'm doing this or that, and then I'll like, who cares? Who gives a fuck? And I'll just delete it. It doesn't matter what I tell them what I'm doing. I'm still doing it whether I tell them or not.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
you know?
I've done that too.
You know? So, and just, that's kind of, you know, so like me giving advice is just like that, you know? I mean, you don't have to use it, and nor am I in your shoes where I think like I have a better perspective of what your job is or what you're trying to accomplish. It's just like from my angle and what I'm trying to do, this is just what I found works for me, you know, and maybe it might work for you and maybe it might not, you know. So, you know, I think that's the things that we just have to kind of take with a grain of salt, you know.
Yeah, dude, don't ever think like, oh, bro, I told them off or I told
No, not at all.
Bro, I take everything to mind, or I consider everything, you know.
I just want people to be successful, so if I can contribute to that success, and you know, or not, you know, but you know, I'd like to be able to contribute to it, you know, if I can help.
Yeah, dude, same here, man. If I know of just me saying something like, oh, you know, this doesn't work, or in my head, right, like my opinion, that don't work, or you know, talk to this guy, he can help, you know, I feel better than not saying nothing at all.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel ya.
Yeah.
I feel ya.
But yeah, we're at the 46 minutes, bro.
Hey.
I wanted to talk a little bit, if you can, about besides Swap House. What you got going on, man? I know.
I mean,
I heard you rapping when I first got here, man.
I mean, I rap all the time. I mean, you know, I have vinyl for sale if you want some. Check me out. I'm going to the studio periodically here and there. Still working on music occasionally.
Is it more or less now that you got the shop though?
I mean, it's about the same, you know.
Okay.
It's about the same. I mean, I've been working on a little something over the last year or so. I got like 12 songs or so that I'm sitting on that I haven't put out. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with them, and I'm going to the studio in 2 weeks, record. You know, I'm just gonna keep recording, and we'll see what happens. You know, the Swap House really has just been the main focus. You know, I mean, music is fun, and I get to do it, but I just don't know, like, unless I have the right team behind me to put it out and get it done right. You know, I'm just gonna make it. Just gonna make it and sit on it, you know, and then we'll see what happens.
Solo collabs?
Pretty much solo stuff. I've been really focusing on more solo stuff over the last few years because, you know, I mean, a lot of the guys I've made music with, they're either moved on or they're doing other things, and I've came with Swap House, you know, I've just became like a solo entity. I'm rolling by myself a lot. I'm at the house, you know, with the family, or, you know, a lot of times I'm down here by myself, dolo and shit. So I've just been kind of focusing on like what I want to do, what I'm trying, you know, like try to make the music that I like. And then, you know, when I have the time to go out and do that, you know, I mean, and it's like, well, I go to the studio like maybe once a month, twice a month.
Holy shit.
Do like a song, you know, I'll do a song every time I'm in the studio. So, you know, that's kind of like the way the sessions have been. I think, like, I haven't been in the studio in, like, the last 3 months just because of Swap House and getting everything together. But I was there about a week ago, and I'll be there in 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm still working on music. I'm writing when I can, freestyling. You know, that's been my not even a focus. It's just something I've always done. So that's what you heard me just freestyle. If a beat's playing, I'm gonna say words. You know.
And I was gonna ask, are you trying something new, or is it or it's just?
I'm not trying. I mean, as far as music goes, not really, man. I'm just gonna stay in my lane. You know.
No blickies and all that.
I mean, I ain't never held it like, you know, like I don't. I mean, I'm a backpacker. I'm a 90s kind of boom bap backpacker kind of rapper. And that's kind of the stuff that I like and listen to, you know. So I think I'm not, like, if you're thinking I'm going to come in and do, like, some trap, like, Juice WRLD type stuff, you're holding your breath. Because, you know, and not to take away, like, I think Juice WRLD is, like, amazingly talented. I watched a documentary on him, like, not too long ago, but even before that. Just the guy is, like, super talented. And I really wish I could make music like that, but I can't. And that's not the stuff I do, you know. So I have to just be honest with me and myself and the lane that I'm in, you know. And just trying to just make the stuff, I just tend to make the stuff that I grew up listening to, the stuff that I like.
I definitely appreciate it, bro. Yeah.
I mean, it isn't like, you know, I mean, it ain't flashy or anything, you know. It's just like it's laid back, grown man, kind of boom bap type hip hop, you know. I mean, like, I can't rap, you know, I mean, I sold drugs, but that's, like, not where I'm at in my life. I don't want to rap about that, you know. I mean, I've shot off some blickies here and there, but that's not, like, what I do, you know. I'm not selling drugs, and, you know, I'm not, like, you know, I just, like, I'm not a melodic melody type of singing type of person. I don't have that into me. So, you know, my stuff is just straight bars, beats.
MCs type stuff.
Yeah, just MC beats and bars, you know. And so I just kind of try to stick to my lane, like, but I do appreciate, like, you know, like, I think, like, guilty pleasures, like Young Thug, you know, like, dude's very infectious. I wish I could make a song and do, like, that type of rap, make that type of stuff, but I can't. Like, I just can't convince myself to try to do it, and if I did, it would just sound horrible, you know? It would not even, like, it wouldn't even, you know, it's just a waste of time. But I appreciate it, you know, and also a little envious I can't do stuff like that. But, you know, my stuff, I just more traditional. I'm gonna do what I do.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and I just wanted to ask that because, you know, eventually, you know, artists, they change, you know. Like, shit. So I wasn't sure if you're at that age. You feel like that you're like, let me try something new.
I mean, I've tried all of that. I think for me, I just want to get back to why I made music. Like, I want to get back to why it was fun to me. What, like, initially inspired me to rap. Like, get back to that. Like, you know. Hanging out with the homies and just rapping because that's what we had, the beat play. I love the beat, you know, we were just high, whatever. I just want to get back to just having fun and just making this because this is what means something to me, or this is what I enjoy to do, you know, not trying to. I think the experimental phase is done, you know.
Oh, okay. I see.
You know, for me personally, music-wise.
No, I still fuck with it, bro. Yeah, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I like. I can't really say I like the new music. The mainstream shit, it's kind of getting old. It's been old, but.
I mean, and to each their own, you know. I mean, everything is opinion based, you know. I like this, you like that, whatever. You know, it's all opinion based, you know. So it's at the end of the day, you know, I sit and listen to stuff. You know, I listen to Drake, I listen to Young Thug, you know, I listen to Lil Baby. It ain't necessarily the music that I make, you know, but I listen to Juice WRLD. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate it. I really do, you know. Sometimes I'm, like, envious and feel, like, not complete as an artist because I can't do certain things that other artists can do. But at the same time, too, I just got to be honest with myself. What's my lane? What am I able to do? What can I create? And I don't want to spend a lot of time creating stuff either. Like you go to the studio, you have an hour or two, you go in there with the idea that you might want to execute, and it might not work out that way, and then you got to kind of switch up gears. So I just don't want to go in and like
waste your time.
Yeah, I hold myself to certain things. I just want to kind of enjoy, like making art again.
I can't remember from last time, but do you make your own beats or?
No, I don't make my own beats. I mean, I can make beats. I haven't made beats in a long time, very long time. I used to make a lot of beats for me.
Holy shit!
Like 20-some
Holy
years.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I used to have an MPC and an ASR-10, and I'd sample and go buy records and dig. Excuse me, and I do that because I just didn't have a producer, So I just started making beats because we didn't have the internet. I couldn't go on to BeatStar or YouTube and find beats, So we had to make them for ourselves. So I did it as a necessity more, like I'm gonna make beats because I need something to rap to, So, but it was good because now I know how beats are made. I understand how they're made, and I could definitely make a beat. I don't know how good it'll be, but I can make a beat for sure.
Okay, sweet, man. And getting back to is it an album, mixtape?
I don't know what it is, man. I don't, I try to not put titles on things too much anymore.
We still got time, bro.
I mean, we can go. You can ask me whatever.
No. This episode is not going to be released for at least a couple weeks to a month or two, So we got time.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing, I don't know what it's going to be until it's made, and then I'm like, here it is, and then I'll know. But right now, I have no idea.
Are you going to leak? Well, not leak, but like EPs?
I don't know what I'm going to do with anything, I don't really know, like, because music is like, it's a whole different world for me lately, But I will say this, I am in the process, I'm going to book a show here in Rockford, though. I'm going to do something here that's going to be a little different than what's normally done. So I got to look into that, but I have a few ideas, and what I'm trying to execute, it'll be cool, I think, So, I mean, being in Rockford, too, I kind of have, like, I want to do more things here. I want to definitely create some visibility for me, and the store as well. So I think if I can piggyback these things and like connect them and then use these as launch pads, kind of, it could help each other.
Okay, sweet. And I was gonna ask. Oh yeah, the art stuff. I seen you've been making album covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you open for commissions?
Yeah, I'm open for commission. I mean, I do a lot of logo designing. I do a lot of flyer, album art stuff for a lot of different people. I'm always open for commission. Inbox me. I'm down. Pretty much, I definitely try to work with everyone's budget. And I just try to make sure that it's something that I want to do before I get into it. But like man, if you need some help with some stuff and I can help you and make it work, let's go. So yeah, I'm always available for commission for artwork, logos, anything,
Anything digital and stuff.
Yeah, anything digital, anything you need for your digital needs, anywhere from like you need vectors to get printed, or you need your logo vectorized because you want to turn it into a sticker or whatever, what have you. I create logos. I work for I've worked, everywhere from politicians to bands all across the United States to over in the UK. I do a lot of stuff I do a lot of things for artists in the UK.
And how do you get these clients, bro? Like, do you just Instagram?
Instagram has really been the big help for me. I just made a page because I was making cover artwork for people, and I didn't want to necessarily share it on my personal page because I tried to put music and my stuff there. So I made a page just doing artwork, and then people started hitting me up from that, Facebook, you know, so I get inquiries all the time of like, you know, what's your budget or what's my prices and this, that, how you do stuff. So it's pretty much been a lot of Instagram, Facebook has pretty much been the way to get a hold of me and what's really propelling my artwork, graphic designing stuff.
Okay. And I was gonna ask, no, videos. There we go. Cause yeah, you had mentioned videos.
I mean, I used to do videos. I haven't done videos in a long time. Not really my thing, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I can shoot some videos. I have cameras and stuff. I just don't have the patience to edit.
Dude, tell me
I don't
about
want to
it.
edit shit
Yeah.
ever.
I love to shoot, bro. The editing,
Yeah.
bro. That.
No, I have no patience, no time. Like, yeah, editing. And you know, that's another. I kind of got away from doing videos because of editing. You know, I just hate. I have no problem shooting, but I just not editing at all.
No, I feel you, bro. That's why I hired somebody.
Hey, you're smart for that. Smart.
Yeah. All right, Dana, man. I've pretty much covered everything I want to know about Swap House. Obviously, there'll still be more to come.
Right, right.
So hopefully, man, if you're down, I'm always down to do another one.
I mean, I'm always here. You know how to get at me. And I just want to say, please, come check out the Swap House here in Rockford, Illinois, 1019 5th Avenue, right here in Midtown. We're next door to Ernie's Midtown Pub. Come check us out Thursday through Saturday, noon to 6 p.m. We have all your 90s freshness, a little bit of everything. And if you're looking for something particular, we probably can help you. So come through, you know.
Ooh. And just like that, guys, stay tuned and stay safe.
Ali Screens. It's from A to Z. Cheers, sketch. It's from A to Z. What's good, y'all? My name is Nino Cruz. This is from A to Z, and you're watching Disney Channel. This is DJ Asset from A to Z. It's Boy Manny Salgado, a.k.a. El Mero Tamalero. This is from A to Z. YG's agent. My name is Indigo Chad. This is from A to Z. I'm Legacy Tay. This is from A to Z. My name is Damu. This is from A to Z. My name is Rodrigo.
It's Bubs, A to Z Studios.
This is Lincoln, and this has been from A to Z.
This is Freak, it's been from A to Z. I know you're hellion, man. You've been tuning in with A to Z.
Yo, it's Mannequin, and this has been A to Z. Yo, this is Kush Flinch checking in on A to Z.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Coppa here, hanging out with the homie Angel, A to Z. What's up, guys? I'm Fishhead. Hey, what's up? It's Ricky Carcass. Big shout out to A to Z, man. My name is Young Fletcher with the Widow. Shout out A to Z Studios, man. You know how we coming.
Jason Goff, and this is from A to Z.
Katie Love Goff, and this is from A to Z.